I fixed it. Look at that. All right, this is Star Trek Europa. Once again, let's do a quick introduction. I'm your host, as always, Dr. RPG Jeff Harvey. Evelyn, go ahead and introduce yourself since you're at the top of the list.
Evelyn Corbin. I'm playing the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Onayat.
John, I think you're next on the list.
Okay. John McKnight. I play the Science Officer and Second Officer, Cassriana, or Cass.
Jack, you're next on the top down.
Yes, hello, I'm Jack, or like near levels on various places. I will be playing Commander Irani Ambrose, and I also do all kinds of other stuff. Namely, I do D&D on Saturdays over at twitch.tv/The People's Ascension. And actually, I have one new exciting announcement to hog the spotlight a little bit longer. Sure. I got this.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
So I'm thinking Thursday, I'm going to be doing some streaming. I'm thinking Thursday at 7 o'clock. I'm going to stream me probably doing just the first part of putting this model together and just talking about Star Trek and probably this game and ideas for my game and just Star Trek stuff in general. So if you want to watch that, hop on over to the People's Ascension Twitch channel and watch me play with the Star Trek toy.
Awesome. Cool. There are links in the YouTube doobly-doo, as well as the show notes for on if you catch us on audio only. So you'll be able to find them that way. And last but not least, Brian.
My name is Brian. I am playing Captain Jorad Hage, and I don't have anything going on. So,
all right. Today's episode is brought to you by Dirty Blonde.
All right.
I needed to relieve myself today, and not. Well, anyway, we're getting off topic. Where did we last leave off with the Star Trek Europa and all the things that were going down last time? Who's got a recap?
I did not do one of those this week, but
Pull up my game notes.
Right.
They're not as orderly as Evs usually are.
Orderly is a very kind and inaccurate description, but I appreciate it. So we docked at Narenda and got our laundry list of tasks that we
half
can
a
take
dozen
on.
missions to look into.
Right. Of which we opted to check out the planet that was sending odd subspace signals. Woof, I can't talk either. First.
The Availain system.
Yes.
Supposedly pre-warp, but subspace signals make that a little iffy. What did that say? Around 21st century technology?
Yeah, that's what I have. They sent an Oberth-class ship, but it had been rerouted to assist with a medical emergency. And the captain decided we didn't have enough tasks to choose from, so he volunteered us for that, too.
Also pirates.
Also pirates.
Had a spat
he less volunteered us for pirates and more kind of like bullied the Klingon into taking care of his own business.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see when that gets brought up, because Ambrose could go for some of that blood wine.
Right. 2 barrels of it. Cass and Eva were working on Eva's odd problem-solving issues.
Can't forget how that Eva is being self-conscious at the moment.
Yes, Eva is very concerned about her own performance and having some problems with that.
Always something you want out of a ship in unknown space.
Your ship develops performance anxiety. Great. The commander had a meeting with Kostra and Cass about protocols with the ship. Making sure
that's a nice way to say that. I would say AI paranoia.
There was a Romulan.
There was a Romulan, yes. All she wanted was an innocent tour of the ship. She just wanted to see how it worked.
Sure.
Nothing at all nefarious, because Romulans are definitely not known for subterfuge.
No.
Sub-Commander Toshara Ray?
Toshari.
Toshari Ray?
That sounds correct.
Uh,
I don't think I ever got the last name.
No, yeah. just
Definitely
have
Toshari, though.
Okay.
it's Toshari.
Toshari.
Toshari. Yeah.
Toshari.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a bunch of apostrophes in there. I just didn't know where to put them.
There are a bunch of apostrophes in there, yes.
Let's see what else. Oh, Cass was approached by Dr. Talifer about her suspicions that there are a bunch of Iconian artifacts that have come back that are related to the disappearances, I think.
No,
No.
This is the spatial
The
anomaly.
anomalies.
Yeah.
Yep. She thinks that something is tying this region together that is unseen. And we learned about an obelisk.
She's not saying it's aliens, but it might be
Right,
aliens.
Might be aliens.
Yeah.
So all you
She
got?
wants us to look further into that.
Okay.
I think that is largely all I got. I think we left off with the mission briefing and deciding. Oh no, we left off with the tour,
Right.
with the Romulan tour, and Toshari saying that she thinks they both got what we came for.
Right.
After a couple psychic fumbles.
Right,
Yes.
because we got some bad psychics on the ship.
We just end every session with the worst possible roll because it's tradition now.
Tradition.
So
I'm gonna add some psychic drills to your security drills there, buddy.
Yeah, really.
does anybody have a scene they want to start this session out with before we get into the credits and whatnot? Okay.
I do not think so.
In that case, I will start with anyone who wants to be in the library with Colonel Computer. Where did my library go here?
O'Connor will be in the library.
Cool. Cass,
I think after the talk with Cass and Costra that it's about time Ambrose meet the computer.
Ooh.
So I'll be there as well.
Excellent. We get the whole squad down there. All right, so we're going to have, who's that? Ambrose is going to be down there. And Cass is going to be down there. And who else was down there?
O'Connor.
O'Connor, right, because she spent some time down there. So there we go. And we're here in this.
I picture her as fairly bookish, so she would probably spend a lot of time in there.
Sure.
As a general rule.
And the computer, I mean, this is the computer library access. So it's, all the reading you could handle, all of the whatever else you can handle. Eva has been spending the last several days since her last conversation with Kaz about problem-solving issues, playing games of chess against anyone who will play her. Does anyone in here want to take up chess with a super intelligent brain?
Oh, I think I really want to do that.
Okay.
Ambrose is gonna play a strategy game with the computer.
All right.
Dig it.
So Ambrose and the computer are playing. While that is going on, she's also having a conversation with Kaz because, supercomputer can do multiple things at once. Where was I? Oh, I need my sheet here. There we go. The one that has all my ranks and stuff on it. Lieutenant Shabaraneva. Commander Ambrose's tactics with this game of chess are quite interesting. He is, I assume, more aggressive than most.
Yes, he is. Certainly most of us on this ship, I would think, yeah.
Can I actually comment on that?
Yeah.
Because I'm actually thinking that I'm employing a very unusual chess approach that switches periodically between intense offense and then driving back to a sort of escape and avoidance strategy.
Gotcha.
Really, I'm just messing with the computer.
Right. Right. I find the tactics to be perplexing.
That might be the point. We're all interested in seeing how well you're functioning and what you're capable of. So he's probably just taking his approach to what you and I have been doing and giving your systems a good working through.
I see. Perhaps I should dedicate more resources to this endeavor.
Might be interesting to see what happens. How's the game going?
At the moment, we are progressing. I believe I should have victory in 18 moves.
He's holding his own against you. Interesting.
To be fair, I am calculating over 6 million different processes aboard ship.
Yes. I will give you that. You've got a lot going on. So, pretty good performance for a humanoid.
I will grant him that he is somewhat skilled. She makes a move, and she's taking a fairly standard, early chess player, early chess savant type moves. You're basically playing Big Blue 10 years ago. I have been running several diagnostics in attempts to discover the functional errors with my problem-solving abilities. I have still been unable to find any new evidence that this is anything but a random occurrence.
Well, keep at it. I suspect that anything that's going on, you probably wouldn't be able to detect from inside. I'm hoping that an outside perspective is from the rest of us, including the first officer, might give some insights, but I don't know that you could find your own blind spots.
Have you brought my performance issues up with the command staff yet?
I have, and I've mentioned that so far they don't seem to be interfering with operations, but that you were concerned that you and I are working together constantly to try and find out what we can.
Excellent. As long as I have not lost the confidence of the command crew.
Oh, definitely not. We haven't seen anything that interferes with functioning. So at this point, it's still a curiosity. If I were you, I wouldn't. I would be interested to investigate, but there really aren't grounds for real concern at this point, I don't think.
I see.
We believe in you.
Ambrose, if you want to make a roll for me, you can make a chess type roll, whatever you think is the most appropriate. The computer is going to be using computers and security, so.
Right.
I would think
Control or insight, right?
I would think like
reason.
Absolutely. Those three would work. Daring would also work if you're trying to be particularly bold.
I think with the strategy I'm employing, I think daring and command
Sure
makes sense. Or daring and security. They're the same. They're the same number for me.
Sure.
Daring and security probably is a little more appropriate.
Well, your difficulty right now is 3 to beat the computer.
Okay. Could I throw in? I have focuses in both team dynamics and escape and avoidance. Could I use those to influence my my chess skills?
I think for sure you're trying to portray an escape and avoidance tactic.
Yeah.
So I would allow that one.
Okay.
Plus, the ship is basically focused in everything it does. So.
Right. Okay. What do we call this? Control, security. I have a focus. Yeah, I'm not. This is a security role, and I am being bold. I'm going to buy another dice with bold because I always buy another dice with bold.
Sure.
Because I am a threat generator. So let's see how this goes.
Oh,
Look at that.
and we were a double threat generator.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do
really
much
good
with
at
that
those 20s.
I'm not going to do a lot with that complication, but you find that after a few minutes of playing the computer, you make a tactical error. You almost are pretty sure that the computer just walked you into a tactical error. That's your complication, and you definitely are beaten. You see it coming fairly quickly. Do you yield, Commander Ambrose?
No, I play until it takes the king. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. It seems that my programming is not deficient. I am curious, though, Commander. Why would you play until the end when there is clearly no chance of victory?
Well, computer, that's the difference between being in command of a situation and simply playing a situation through. If all these pieces were people, I'm not just going to lay them down and tell them all to wait for their deaths.
I see. So it is wiser to sacrifice the pieces knowing there is no victory.
If there's no victory and there's no escape, we might as well take as many of them out as we can.
Connor looks a little horrified at
Yeah.
that statement.
Yeah.
She just she looks up on her tablet she's reading. She's like,
Yeah, you just told a ship that has all of you living inside of it that it's okay to sacrifice everybody.
Cass was definitely taken aback of that too. Yeah.
One defeat can open the way for future victories.
I believe I understand, Commander. I look forward to playing you again in the future.
Me too.
Lieutenant Cass, what is your assessment of the Commander's assertions? As you are a command level staff as well.
Our experiences in Starfleet have been very different. I am a scientist first, and the missions that I have been on have primarily involved contact with other species, where a peaceful encounter is one of the highest goals. Commander Ambrose has served in wartime, where victory is the goal. I think you'll find our perspectives on this matter are very different.
Are we? Can we hear each other speak?
Yeah,
or are we
absolutely. Yep, it's one room. You're all in there, and the computer can speak through the computer systems, through the voice. It's not typed. It's actually a voice.
Survival is the goal. Not just us, not just me, not just my men. The Federation, Starfleet.
Commander, I can completely agree with. I hope for more than survival, of course. I would like to see us thrive and cooperate. But survival, I'll give you that survival comes first.
It's the bare minimum that we cannot yield.
I hope we can do better.
Me too.
Ensign O'Connor, you are not a member of the command staff, but you are a member of the science staff. Do you agree with Lieutenant Cass?
I think with ingenuity, there's always an alternative route. I would hope to never be in a position where my only option is I'm going to die, so I'm going to take the rest of you out with me. My experience is very limited, as I've only just graduated academy, and this is my first posting. But my optimistic opinion is that we would not be in a position where death is an option or is the only option. And if it seems that we find ourselves in that position, that we can put our heads together to find a way to negotiate our way out, or somehow through wit and, if you have to, subterfuge, escape.
Cass is going to give her a big smile and say, Ensign, that's the Starfleet spirit. You hold on to that.
Thank you, sir.
Ambrose also nods along. He's down with that.
The computer starts. There's several lights in the room begin flashing, on the wall and consoles and such. Thank you. Every time I have these conversations, I find it quite enlightening. I can make it a part of my programming. Your insights are helpful.
We're here to work together, Eva. You're one of us.
All right. That's a good place to stop that scene. Listen to something else.
I will say, don't go crashing us into another ship. Unlike this king here, you have warp nacelles. Get us out of there if you can.
Please don't.
We're not all expendable. So Brian, you had a special thing that you wrote that was I think would be a good time to start.
You muted.
Oh yes, you were muted, sir.
Ah, snap.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Space, the final frontier. It's through our exploration that we learn more about the universe, each other, and ourselves. These are the voyagers of the starship Europa. Its mission to explore new life and new civilizations, wherever we may find them. Captain's log. Stardate 53,969.45. We're en route to the Availain system. Long-range surveys indicate only one Class M world, and the scans show the civilization that appears to be approximately that of 21st century Earth. Oddly, we have also detected strange subspace activity, which would be unusual for a planet of that classification, and possibly signs of potential warp capabilities.
Excellent. Appears that camera is just totally frozen on me. So you guys are on your way to the system. You can start anywhere you'd like with that. You do have long range sensors that can begin investigating.
I was going to say, if you want to start a scene with Yesbeth, it would make sense to start out on the bridge and have her at the science station there running sensors.
Well, we could let Cass do the science role since she's the science officer. But maybe Yesbeth is bragging about some modification she made, some calibration to try to make them better at longer range, since that is her bailiwick.
That sounds great.
Okay, so we're starting on the bridge then?
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Sure, okay.
So,
on the main bridge, everything is proceeding as you would normally anticipate. Everyone is there that's supposed to be: Kaz, the captain, Commander Ambrose, as well as Beth, who is tinkering around with something that, were she anybody else, you'd be like, nah.
So, Anson, think you got something good for us here?
well, sure. If you call 700 DPI or 7 billion DPI micron resolution good, something good, then yes.
All righty. Well, thank you then for your work on the sensors. Let's see what it turns up.
I cannot believe this instrumentation. I didn't think Starfleet had developed anything this sensitive.
Yeah, we've got cutting edge technology here. It's fantastic. I can't wait to see it in action against some real new discoveries.
Neither can I. And then she's going to make a little go-ahead gesture.
With your permission, Ensign?
Granted?
Okay, let's see what we can see. Control science ship assist?
Yep.
Can I assist with an engineering roll as well?
Sure.
Okay, 2d20s. I have a focus in probably nothing useful unless you want to give me computer systems on this, which I don't know that I would.
No, I don't think so, no.
Yeah, okay, so we're rolling 2.
I exploded, so 2 successes.
Okay. Ship got 1.
And another 2.
So that is 4 successes?
5.
Oh, you got 2, right? So that's 5 successes, correct. All right. From this distance, what you are gaining information-wise is that there is one M-class planet. There are 2 large gas giants. Those planets both have rings around them. And there's a large asteroid system, almost like the Kuiper Belt. It's like a very large asteroid belt that is also in the system. You are not detecting much in the way of interplanetary traffic, but there is a significant amount of radio waves, which is typical for a 21st-ish century society.
Can we start feeding that into the Universal Translator?
Sure.
Cass has a focus in Universal Translators.
Excellent. You also have, which we can hold on to for the moment, for 5 momentum. You can ask additional questions, or we can bank them.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Check for artificial satellites, any orbital stations or extraplanetary bases.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are, in fact, a number. The ship is confused a little bit, but when you first start seeing this, there are a number of them, but that number is decreasing the longer it is taking you to get there.
Any sign of explosions or weapons fire or anything like that?
No.
How odd. Are there any gravitational anomalies or solar flares or radiation hinkinesses?
Not that you're able to detect from this range.
Okay.
You are picking up one additional radiation type, I guess, is the best way to put it. But the ship's sensors are not able to pinpoint it specifically at the moment.
Are we close enough that we might be able to determine what their primary source of power is? Have they advanced to fission or nuclear power?
Yes. It looks like they are primarily fission with some early fusion systems.
Okay. Any progress on the Universal Translators, or should I do an extra roll for that?
No, you don't need to make a roll. It's definitely working.
Okay.
Their language doesn't appear to be too overly complex. Let's see. The only thing you're getting directly from all of that is Eva tells you that there appears to be some, I'm uncertain, additional languages in the system that I'm unable to codify at the moment.
Are they all coming from the planet, or are they coming from somewhere else?
These appear to be coming from orbit.
Oh.
Could we Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, just real quick. I have the dedicated focus talent, and if I crit, I get an extra momentum. So, just if you could add that to the pool.
Sure.
Could we tap into any sort of cultural database or start accumulating cultural data through their normal means of communication?
Passively, yes. If you wanted to tap into their systems from this distance, it would be difficult, but you could do it. There's no guarantee that their systems wouldn't be able to detect some kind of intrusion. I mean, the 21st century technology, you're light years beyond them, but that doesn't mean that they wouldn't have some idea that their computers are being hacked. I mean, it took Sony forever, but it wouldn't mean it would take them forever.
Cass has computer expertise and a focus in computer systems. Could she improve those odds?
Sure.
Okay. I get to roll another die for the expertise. I've got a focus. Anybody mind if I buy a die?
No.
Go for it.
I am going to spend one of my threats to increase the complication range.
All right.
So the complication range is now 2.
Woohoo!
Ship assists.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh.
Well,
Eva!
randomly.
Those anomalies she was talking about.
Random anomalies, yeah. All right. But you have 5 successes, which leaves you with difficulty only 1, so you have 4 momentum. I think you can buy off that. No, I don't know if we can or not. I'll take it back as this, though. I'll take it back as a...
Okay.
I believe you can buy off complications.
Yeah.
Can you?
I'll play that way.
I'm going to otherwise use the complication to note that there's probably somewhere along the system that they're going to have detected. Someone somewhere will probably have detected a connection. Maybe not be able to track where it is, because that would be very difficult for them to do. But certainly they'd be aware that there might have been some kind of breach in their systems.
Okay. What do we get?
Give me 1 second. What you're getting mostly from their from immediate communications. First of all, Eva is downloading all of their data as far as cultural whatnot goes. They're a multi-government world. Seems to be some level of turmoil that is pretty standard, really. Beyond that, what you're getting is current events news, and it appears that there are something that has reached orbit is causing massive outages of satellites. They've lost communication with their main intergovernmental space agency station, and the radiation levels on the planet are rising at an alarming rate. And that with these conditions, they're clearly not trying to make anyone panic, but under these conditions, they are telling people that to remain at home and be leery, as there's a high probability of death coming their way.
We haven't detected anything unusual, unnatural, or from out of the system so far.
You are unable to detect anything from this range other than the radiation that is in the system that Eva has pointed out and that your systems are seeing, as well as whatever the weird language that Eva is unable to identify is.
Do our ratings contradict what they're saying, or do we just not have a clear enough reading?
They don't contradict it in any way. You're just, whatever is causing it, the ship is not able to see at the moment.
Gotcha. Okay.
Between our last 2 roles there, the scan and the communications, could we determine, or this might be another role, could we determine what their maximum sensor range is, assuming they have telescopes and something approaching more sophisticated sensors, how far back we would have to remain and not be seen?
To be completely unobservable, it would be a pretty good ways, but space is really big, so it would be hard for them to necessarily know you're there. The Europa is not a very big ship by comparison to the amount of space they'd have to search.
How close in is that asteroid belt?
It's about the distance from Earth to the Kuiper belt. You could certainly, a few million kilometers.
So that wouldn't necessarily help us much on our sensor range then.
It would certainly improve your sensor range. It's a lot closer than you are right now. Yeah.
Okay.
And if we coast into the system on minimal power, they'd have to basically spot us with a telescope. That'd be difficult to do.
Be difficult
Once
to
we hide behind an asteroid, especially if there's any sort of strange metallic signatures or radiation, it could easily mask some of our sensor readings.
Right.
Good idea. Good plan. Captain, sound good?
Absolutely.
All right.
Make it happen.
All right. So you're going to come out of warp into or near the asteroid belt.
I was thinking we come out of warp, out of system, do a quick burst, turn everything off, and just coast in silently.
I gotcha. All right. Well, that's going to be kind of a difficult thing to do because
It's a good thing we have a a good pilot.
Paul protects his knuckles and is ready to go.
Throwing darts in space, you know.
From the wind.
Oh, no.
I will impale you.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give me a.
Bring it back.
Go ahead and give me a. I'm going to say, my first thought is daring and con.
I'll go for that. Fawkes has a focus in helm operations. He is daring 9, command 4, so our target is 13. Spend 1 momentum, spend 2 momentums. How are y'all feeling?
I think you should spend. You'd have to spend 3 to buy 2 dice, and I think you absolutely should.
What is the range we're working on here?
He's got a
no. I mean difficulty and complication. Has that been?
Difficulty is just going to. I'm going to say difficulty is probably 2, and I'm not going to increase the complication unless I at the moment I don't feel the need to increase that. So
was my comment about us having a fantastic pilot inspirational enough for my inspiration focus to provide a command boost to his morale?
What do you think, pilot?
Fawkes was really impressed to hear that from the commander.
All right, I'll take it.
Okay.
Don't you need to roll assist for that?
How does that play out mechanically?
I think that isn't that. It depends on the talent. If you're using the rally, it would be its own roll, right? If you're rolling to assist at something, then you roll. If it's rolling to assist them, then
I figured I'd just be rolling a command assist.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, focus supplies. I'm doing this the hard way. There we go.
So what would that be for me? Presence command?
Sure.
1 dice?
Sure. And I'm going to say the ship can't really help you make the auto corrections afterwards.
That is still a success. Actually, I have a combined 16 there.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. So we got 3 successes.
Yeah.
All right. You drop out of warp just outside of system, and you shut the engines down and coast in. You managed to slow the ship down right with thrusters right around the edge of the belt, and you are, as far as you're aware, hidden from sight.
As we're coasting in, I'm gonna walk up behind Fawkes and just sort of lean against his chair, sort of Riker style, and watch out the view screen. And as he brings us in behind the asteroid, I'm just gonna pat him on the shoulder. Nicely done.
Thank you, sir. And he will stand at attention while sitting down.
Okay.
Thanks, Ensign. We got a lot of large rocks out there to dodge.
I'm on it, sir.
Lieutenant Shebernoa, why don't you scan their civilian their radio messages, see if you can find anything about strange spatial activities, UFOs, that kind of thing.
Oh, keep an eye out for us? Okay. We can certainly do that.
Sure. While you were in system, though, you also are able to. I'm just going to have to stop messing with this camera, I guess. You also will see my lovely face today. It's killing me. All right. You can also give me a new sensor scan since you were in the system. Did you say you spent a momentum on that one or no? On the piloting roll?
Yes.
Yeah, one.
Gotcha.
Two.
2?
You only rolled 3 dice.
Yeah.
Three dice? Oh, 1.
1. That's good enough. Good enough. All right.
Counting the poor thing very hard.
So you are definitely seeing signs. You're getting a lot of readings of signs of some kind of extraterrestrial creatures in orbit. There appear to be 3 of them. Your sensors, now that you're closer, are definitely detecting 3 large creature anomaly things in the system. You get to see these. There are 3 of them in orbit currently around the planet.
Space whales.
Space whales.
Interesting.
Literally space whales. Those are from Lost in Space, but I liked them, so I took them.
Nothing wrong with that. Can I assist on this with my sensor tuning again?
Sure.
I assist on this roll.
I'm doing another sensor roll, then I take it. In no focus. 2 dice. Control science again.
And the ship can assist on this one. So sensors and science. There you go. Oh, hey, look at that.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, so that's 2, 4. Did you, Elizabeth, did you roll?
Yeah, I assisted, but for 1.
1. Okay, I didn't see it on the chart sheet as well.
Oh, did not. Right.
That's all right. So that is a total of 5. Difficulty was 1. So you have 4 momentum. You are detecting 3 of these large creatures. They are, they're massive. They are roughly 10 to 15 times the size of the Europa, both in width, length, all that. So they are huge. They are different sizes. One is significantly larger than the other 2. Yeah, that's what you get from the base sensors. And Eva will tell you that is the source of the alternate language.
Are they also the source of the radiation?
They are.
Can we process their language? Can we communicate with them?
You could give me a roll. Difficulty is going to be 5, and I'm going to spend... Well, I'll spend a threat to make it 5. We'll say it was 4, and I'll spend 1 to make it 5.
Okay. Can I invoke diffuse the tension?
In what way?
Trying a general we come in peace hail.
Well, let's not. We haven't discussed if we're actually going to talk to them yet.
Right.
Okay, so we're deciphering the language. Okay.
Right. I'll say no.
Yeah, okay. Focus on universal translators again?
Sure.
Okay.
We got 3 unspent floating momentum, so you can just take all 3 of those if you want. We're not using it for anything else.
Sounds good. Okay, so that'll be 5. All right. Ship assist?
Ship assist. Trying to think what I want to do here. Okay, there we go. Oh.
What was the
Come on,
roll the
computer.
ship made earlier?
When? Oh, it was a science. It was a science roll.
Okay.
They had that 2 successes up there. That was a science roll
Yeah.
for detective sensors.
Got you.
All right. Well, Eva's having a day.
I have cautious science. I
threaten
can
to impale
re-roll
her.
one of those d20s,
Okay.
just in case it matters.
Reroll that 20. You can reroll that.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
It doesn't have to be one of yours. It can be one of the assist rolls.
I thought it could only be the one you bought, but all right, awesome. I'll take it.
All right.
I mean,
I'll happily take the credit.
I can double check what it was.
It's cautious
Cautious.
science.
Yep.
we will operate under the fact that you appear to have succeeded in deciphering at least portions of their language, or at least deciphering that it is more than just a language. They are definitely speaking to each other. Eva is definitely able to get a basic understanding, although it is a distinctly alien language. They clearly do not think in the same context of speech patterns that we do. So what you're getting is a lot of navigational data, a lot of almost like instinctual level emotional context in their speech, but not really words so much.
Yes. Do you detect any signs of sentience? Are we able to determine if they're just animals communicating, or is there something more to it?
Do I sense anything with my empathy?
Yeah, absolutely. They are definitely at the moment they appear to be they appear to be having fear, some level of fear.
Captain, they do appear to be under some deal of stress. They are afraid, at the very least. They're very alien, but
That doesn't preclude
something is wrong.
That doesn't preclude them being sentient or animals.
Right.
I'd like
Yeah.
to figure out that mystery before we decide if we're going to intervene or not.
It would be a difficult thing to answer, but
Insight roll?
Is their language complex enough that it extends beyond animal communication? Does it seem to be a fully fledged language?
from what Eva can identify, yes, it seems to be a complex, fully formed language, just something that is contextually unable to be identified. You have no frame of reference to what their lives are like, so it's difficult to quantify any kind of like words. But you are like, Eva is able to identify things like navigational paths, and they're done in a complex way that is seemingly beyond that of animalistic tendencies. Although bees are pretty impressive.
So they seem to be causing disruptions. Based on the radio waves we've detected, does it seem to be causing massive damage, or is it simply inconvenience?
No, it is definitely causing significant damage. You can see in orbit there are a number of wreckage. There's quite a bit of wreckage. What you would assume is the wreckage consistent with a number of satellites, possibly a small space station. There are some biological signs in the debris. No life signs, but biological signs.
Is there any evidence that the whales are taking any damage or sustained any damage?
One of them appears to have some minor, what I guess you could call bleeding, but they don't appear to be like particularly damaged in any particular way.
So there's nothing that would indicate to us what they're afraid of.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Fox, can you take the navigational data we've been able to translate so far and plot it on screen? I'd like to see what exactly they seem to be intending.
Okay.
Right. Give me a. That's a good question. What would I do with that roll? Insight or reason and con, I think, would be best.
Okay.
Unless you have something else you want to try.
No, if it's okay with you, I'd like to go with reason. Would any of combat maneuvers, helm operations, or strategy and tactics help?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Astronavigation would work if you had that.
Nope. Secondary character doesn't have it.
Right.
Okay, so target is 13.
The ship can assist.
One success.
And Eva gets... No, jeez. Okay. Ambrose took up all her computing power, apparently. One success. That is enough. What you see is that they appear to have come from one of the large Jovian planets, the big gas giants. They were... there's two navigational overlays coming from, because there's multiple creatures speaking, obviously, or making song. One of them shows the navigational line going away from the planets, away from the system, and out into deep space. The other one shows a veering off of that track to come towards this planet. And it looks to be as though there is some garbled, I guess, that's not really the word I need. The word I'm looking for, but I can't think of what it is. So, what's that?
Confused?
Yeah. It appears to be as though there is some dispute between the conversation as to what the navigational data should actually be. So likely something around the planet was probably throwing off someone's navigation.
Well, I think we found the source of our subspace anomalies. Mr. Ambrose, let me know what you think, but I think that the Prime Directive would prohibit our involvement in this matter, seeing as how this seems to be a natural occurrence rather than something forced upon the system.
Unfortunately, I think I would have to agree.
Captain, if I may,
reluctant I am as I am to do so.
Creatures are spacefaring and sentient. Talking to them or trying to establish communications with them might not be a violation of the Prime Directive.
And they are afraid, possibly in pain. And if we can figure out how, in fact, they do communicate, they may indeed be emitting some sort of distress call, in which case we would certainly be allowed to help.
Well, we are entering one of those famed Prime Directive gray areas, but my own interpretation is that because these creatures are native to this system, or at least seem to be, they would still be covered under the Prime Directive, that their capabilities are natural rather than technological. Involvement with them would be tantamount to involvement with the planet below.
I don't think we have evidence to conclude that they are one ecosystem or one community, sir.
That's fair. They could have come from another system, I suppose.
At the very least, the Prime Directive would not prohibit us from staying here hidden and observing.
Very true. Let's keep an eye on it for a little while. Let's see if we can get an idea of what kind of damage they're wreaking, because they seem to be causing. Are they just posing a danger to satellites, or is their radiation affecting the ground as well?
The radiation is definitely affecting the ground. They are raising the radiation levels in the ionosphere tremendously. It's you would have to probably get a closer inspection, but based on what the people on the planet are saying, it will become likely to be a lethal dosage of radiation within 24 to 48 hours.
Are we able to make a determination where they're trying to go based on the information that they're, I understand that it's confusing. They're confused about where they're going.
Sure.
But if we can eliminate this planet as their destination, then the other one would be correct.
Well, it looks like they're arguing about whether they should leave or not. It leads me to question whether there's something in system actually drawing them here. Perhaps an emission from these satellites, whatever. Perhaps they are not the source of these subspace signals. Perhaps they are being drawn here from those subspace signals.
You might be
There's
right.
possibility, sir.
Can we do a scan for any subspace systems?
Subspace systems on.
Just in general, the entire system, whatever. More generally, I would like to detect anything that might be drawing them.
And could we compare if any of their communication frequencies come anywhere near their native language frequencies to see if they're simply being confused by the radio chatter?
Sure. It's two different tasks. If one wants to take if someone wants to take a lead on an engineering role and the other one wants to take a lead on the science, I would allow that.
Okay.
We have another competent engineer.
Yesbeth will look around for a moment for the confident engineer and then realize you're talking about her and be like, oh, if you're sure, and then she'll give it a shot.
Work your magic.
Does sensors focus apply?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Okay.
Which one do you want the ship to assist on?
Wouldn't it assist on both?
Probably, yeah.
Stop. Fuck off.
Sensors and... So that's your sensors and science roll to assist whoever the sciencer is.
Okay. Control science. What are we rolling for on this one?
You're rolling to... Look at that. The science guys were rolling to determine if there was any subspace activity in the region, correct?
Right.
To try and determine what was drawing them.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the engineering was to determine... I forgot what that one was determining.
To determine if the radio waves were being confused with their language.
Gotcha. Right.
Anybody mind if I buy a die?
Go for it.
Which I can then re-roll. So whoops, didn't want to do that. I'm rolling 3. No focus. And I'll re-roll 1 just for funsies.
Okay.
Okay. So what you find is the subspace waves are residual in the system, which may or may not have attracted them. But the subspace energy that is in the system appears to be roughly the same frequency as the primary radio waves from the planet.
The subspace energy in the system is being caused by their communication radio waves.
Not necessarily caused by, but on a similar frequency to similar or near similar frequency to. So it's likely not caused by. In fact, the majority of the subspace eddies, I guess, that you would still see, the residual subspace activity is actually coming from or near the creatures themselves.
So
the creatures are causing the subspace distortions.
Correct.
Or they're generating feedback from the planet?
More likely than not, what your assumption might be would be something like the way it matches. It's more like these creatures operate on a similar frequency wave. At least their navigation operates on a similar frequency wave to that of what the planet's primary radio waves are, if that makes any sense.
Okay. So basically the planet's interfering with their own built-in sonar.
Yeah. Happens to birds all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Cass, do you think perhaps you could set up some kind of jamming signal that might shut down the planet's communications for a short while? Might let the creatures find their bearings.
Ooh, that's an interesting thought, Captain.
That is a good tool to keep in our back pocket, but that is treading very close to the line.
Yeah, I have to agree with the commander on that one. That shutting down an entire planet's broadcasts is
You'd have defense satellites, communication satellites,
and if there is already
a natural disaster that they're trying to coordinate relief for,
and political turmoil, that could launch a world war.
Setting it up might take you a while to get it all configured anyways, so it's something that you could consider.
All right. I want that option explored, and I want 2 other options, and we'll meet in the conference room in 20 minutes to discuss possibilities.
Yes, sir.
All right. I will be in the conference room.
Okay. With that in mind, does anybody want to have a scene somewhere in another room that they can discuss with other characters to get multiple character perspectives?
Ooh. Well, I think the 2 of us on the bridge could start setting up the planetary jamming.
Sure. For that, it would probably be an engineering and reason roll or control or something else if you have something else that would work. But I think engineering would be the primary.
Mm-hmm.
I have a thought on the jamming that I think I'd like to come from Mills. I don't know how she's going to get involved in it, but I think that the thought would most likely come from her.
Okay. She's what? And she's engineering, right?
She's security. I have no engineers in this game.
Ah, okay.
Okay, can Kaz assist on this one with maybe computer systems?
Sure.
Okay.
Elizabeth has astrophysics focus. Would that apply?
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, she got 3 successes.
And add on another one.
Okay. So I think we're at 5.
4.
4.
4. Okay.
Unless ship assist?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, ship assists. I was in the process of rolling that when I was trying to figure out where Mills belongs. Let's see. I think the ship would do. Let's do that. And that's another 1 success. So we're at 5. So with the captain giving the order to come up with ideas, is that a shipwide order? Is that a bridge command order? Is it going to other departments?
Well, I mean, it's not going to be broadcast on the intercom, but obviously all the heads of the department are here in the bridge.
Right.
So I assume that they can
coordinate with their departments.
Right.
Would the doctor have reason to be on the bridge for this?
I could see the captain calling Dasavi up to the bridge for an extra empath brain, but other than that, not really.
I think I would actually lean over to Hage when he calls for other options. Captain, it could be useful to get the doctor involved in this. She does have a means of an extra layer of communication, possibly, but when she sees what's happening on that planet, she is going to want to do something. Could put us in a difficult position.
Well, let's bring her up, and I think Dasavi is enough in control of herself that she won't rush to the planet with a med pack in hand. But bring her. He'll click his comm link. Commander Dasavi, if you could come to the bridge, we'd like to discuss when you're available. If you could come to the bridge.
Acknowledged. On my way.
In the meantime, does anybody else have any other departments they want to get involved? Any other characters they want to get involved in the discussion?
I think I think if I think the security team should talk about options.
Sure.
Because
That's you, Ambrose.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could get behind this scene. Okay. So, well, Captain, you said you were already going to the briefing room, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Would that is that far enough away for me to technically have the bridge?
Yes.
Okay.
Anytime the captain is not on the bridge, the next in command has the bridge.
Right.
Okay, well, let's do whatever's best for the scene. So I'm fine with the captain being on the bridge if it.
Right. I'm thinking at least for now whether I take the actually I probably wouldn't take the conference room, but I would ask to Captain, if you may, I'd like to confer with my security team to get a basic tactical analysis here. Hopefully we won't need it, but I think it's prudent to know what these creatures can do.
Absolutely. I'll take the con.
Aye, sir. I'll go down to wherever security office there is.
Sure. It's on deck 3, I believe.
Okay.
Koba has like this little ball thing that he's like squeezing back and forth, and it's like increasing in size because he's just bored and his feet are on one of the table, and then when you enter he like sets it aside, quickly stands to attention.
Koba is lieutenant.
Mulligan.
Okay. Lieutenant, good that you're here. I'll be calling a meeting shortly. All on-duty security officers to the security office. A few minutes goes by, people walk in. This is probably when Mills would show up.
Yeah.
Mills, Koba.
Technically,
Mills responds, yes, sir, on my way.
Technically, I think also the SSH would apply here.
Well, but then that would make Jack RP
Possibly.
with himself.
Oh, right. That's Jack's character, right?
And he is just a quartermaster.
Yeah,
I mean, he's kind of like emergency security if really need. I mean, he could show up. He won't say anything, but
I was thinking for some reason that was one of John's characters, but go ahead.
And actually, I think I would like to call our two pilots to this as well, since these are space-based creatures.
All right, sure.
Box is all over that.
Okay.
Oh, I was thinking Silva and Shajin. I was
probably
really
best to leave
thinking
Fox at
just
the helm
Shajin,
anyway.
but it would be not necessarily a good thing to call Shajin and not Silva.
Right.
Further that rift.
That, I believe, is everybody.
Okay.
It does put Brian on 2 characters, but all right.
Right.
It's bound to happen eventually.
Okay, so can we just say everybody's filled in on the current situation?
Yeah.
Koba's going to say, well, what are the chances we just piss these things off?
They're already frightened. I'd worry less about pissing them off and more working them into a fear-filled rampage.
We don't need a stampede of
Giant
these things are
whales.
10 to 15 times our size. We don't need them careening through the system.
No, we need them moving slowly and gently.
All the more reason we should be ready if they come at us. I mean, that's my read of the situation anyway.
True.
We should at least go to yellow alert. I don't know if that would make us too obvious to the planet below, but
Once we get involved, at least yellow alert. I would agree. As for now, we're hanging back. I do like the idea of attempting to corral or herd these creatures, but that's something I think we'll leave to our yellow and blue science and engineering.
As to the jamming, Commander, I understand the concern for violating the Prime Directive. Is there a space outside the planet's sensors and satellites, et cetera, between there, but inside the whale's sensory perceptions? Can we place the jamming there so that we don't interfere with the planet, but the planet's emissions stop interfering with the whales?
I'll bring this idea up to the science team. I couldn't answer that myself, but it's a good idea. I was thinking possibly in combination with that, we could create a louder signal off somewhere else and draw them away. That really isn't the scope of this meeting, however. We are here for worst case scenarios. That is our job. If these things do start careening towards the system or get a liking towards our ship, I want to know how to hurt them. We need an analysis of their hide, their speed, any sort of special abilities they may have, any sort of natural phaser or electromagnetic waves they could produce to interfere with us. So I will ask that a number of you work with science teams to get a tactical analysis on these creatures. And we will need to formulate defensive maneuvers, identify weak spots. I would like to avoid killing these creatures, but it could be useful to know where they're sensitive.
Melania will say, what if we blind them? If we don't want to kill them, they seem easily confused. If we blind them, they won't know where we are.
If we blind them, we run the risk of them then blindly thrashing around the system. I think that would just add to their fear. And that's assuming, well,
I would imagine they're already dealing with some layer of that. I'm sure out in space they don't rely on optics. They probably rely on these subspace signals as some sort of old form of radar or sonar. In which case they're already being messed with.
Right.
Well, we could send an overload of signals to hopefully confuse them or confuse them more. And at least if they start coming to us, that's a way to get them off of us.
It's a possibility. Sure, go ahead and work on that.
Kova will mention, what if we do a torpedo down the gullet? Will that work? We could wrap it in food or whatever these things eat, put it in space.
It's a possibility. Again, these are large creatures. We might need more than one, but I'm sure they're softer on the inside than they are on the out.
We just need to figure out what they eat.
And hope we can access large quantities of it.
Is another interesting question for the science department. To my knowledge, there isn't a high concentration of space krill floating out here.
Okay.
Okay, well, as for now, I believe we have our assignments. Silva, you're taking looking into this confusion, blindness situation. Koba, go ahead and assess how much ordnance would be required to deal enough damage to deter or stop creatures of this size
You got it, Chief.
from the inside. Shajin, I want you to work with Astro Navigations to see if you can get an idea of how these creatures move and how we can help corral them and if need be, avoid them.
Sir, if I may, I would like to work on whatever defenses might work best for us should they attack. shield calibrations, things of that nature.
Right. This is. I'm going through my my crew sheet trying to remember who everybody is. Okay. Sorry, you were saying defensive systems. Yeah.
Yes.
That is a good idea. Yes. It may also be possible that they generate some sort of deflector field themselves, seeing as they move through space. There's a lot of debris out here. They may have natural shielding or even natural magnetic phasers, whatever systems they may be able to use. We should look into what that is, and again, yes, ascertain weak spots
Yes, sir.
across their hide, places where we can deliver a hopefully low intensity phaser beam and just give them a nice kick in the hindquarters to get them moving. And if need be, do more damage. Sounds like a good use of your talents. All right, the captain called for solutions in 20 minutes, so we've eaten up enough of that time here. Get to work.
Yes, sir. Mel's will go down to the science and find out what the sensors are showing, what intel we've got regarding the creatures themselves.
And I'm gonna throw all of those interesting semi-related questions over to Cass.
Right.
All those science and engineering questions.
So do we want to have a scene in the science lab then?
Sure.
Who else wants to be in that one? We've got Mills, because she's going down there to interact, so apparently O'Connor's off doing her own thing.
Yep.
We got Kaz. Anybody else?
Yeah, Elizabeth is technically science, although I think she's been assigned to the engineering task.
Gotcha.
Cass would wander along.
Okay, she'll definitely come. She'll have like her pad, and she'll be like trying to make calculations as you're talking.
This is Elizabeth, you said? Okay.
Yeah, Elizabeth. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, and we are
I'm
in
thinking
our...
Elizabeth is engineering, but she's science. I have to remember that.
Yeah, I had to go double check that too.
It's because her uniform, yeah.
Yeah.
She's one of those ones that's hard to tell what department she's actually in.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your biology lab. We'll say we're doing our research down there first. So, have at. You guys want to make a roll for me first? I guess we'll establish a baseline roll, and you guys can ask a bunch of questions based on that. So, I said difficulty is 1. Actually, difficulty is going to be 0 because you guys have already done one of these rolls. So you're now just going back and checking your scans and looking at your stuff and going over additional data that you may not have seen earlier. Science and reason for somebody, and then anybody that wants to assist plus the ship.
Okay, reason science. Happy to do that. Let's see if anything applies.
I think Rebecca should assist.
Sure.
If difficulty is only 1, I won't spend momentum on it then. Unless you think I should.
I think you should.
Okay, which I can re-roll anyway. So yeah, let's do that. All right, so 3.
I'll never say nobody should take at least 1 momentum.
Right.
Okay, 3 successes.
And O'Connor's is you said reason science is a 15. So there's 1 more.
You can assist with other things if you have something else that can apply to the assist, but yeah.
I mean, that would make the most sense for O'Connor.
Right. The ship got 1, you got 3, you got 1, so that's 4, right? 5? That's 5.
5.
And that was a 0?
Yeah, the difficulty is 0, so you have 5. So you have 5 questions you can ask. You can speculate between anything beyond that. You also have 4 momentum in the hole that you can use to ask additional questions. So you can ask basically anything you want. Science it up, baby.
And Cass is studious, so we can ask another question.
Yep.
Did we get enough of the navigational language that we could send them navigational data?
Yeah, I'd say you probably could pull that off. You got 4 more.
Well, security wanted to know what they eat, which is a sciencey question that Cass would be curious about anyway.
Sure.
Even though if she knew why, she would be extremely pissed.
Right. From what you can tell, they appear to eat a type of oh, Gaiman, what was it? I actually wrote it down. I can't remember. It's like an electroplasma that's a mineral. It's a mineral that's found in the gas giants, the rings of the gas giants, and it's fairly common in most gas giants. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I do have it written down somewhere.
Can we conclude then that they were looking to use the gas giants as a snack bar and got confused by the radio signals?
That seems like a logical assumption.
Okay.
You got 3 more plus the 4. No, you got 4 more. Sorry, because I forgot you're studious.
So Mills says, what are their natural defenses?
So when you do a bioscan of them, you find, first of all, there are 4, not 3. Secondly, you find that they are they're well armored, and they have like a bioradiation as a shield sort of system. So they do have resistances to beam type weapons, not like significant resistances. They're not starship shields or anything. But that is also the source of the radiation. So whatever they're doing, whatever their defensive mechanism is also the source of the radiation.
Okay.
Could I ask for a clarification without eating one of our questions?
Sure.
You said 4, not 3. Are we dealing with a pregnancy situation again, or did we just miss one?
It does appear to be a common theme for the Europa, yes.
All right. Another baby. Cool.
Do not beam this one out.
God, no, please.
How? This is just a curiosity, so I don't want to eat a question with it.
Sure.
I'm just curious how big the baby is if these things are 15 times the Europa size. And the Europa is not really that small of a ship.
Right. It is not born yet, but it's probably going to be a size 7 or so.
Hey. Okay.
It's pretty big.
What are their weak points?
As best you can tell, you're likely to use something around their sensory organs, somewhere where the eyes would be on a normal whale. That's probably your best bet. Or they do sort of have mouths, sort of, mostly. Much like large blue whales, it's baleen streams kind of thing.
Right.
Streamers. Although blue whale's mouth actually opens up pretty wide, whereas these guys probably don't. They're not going to swallow you or anything.
That's good to know.
At least not the
They
Europa.
probably could.
Yeah.
I know I'm not in the scene, but an interesting question could be, since they do have, like you said, bio-radiation shielding and armor, if that shielding is being emitted from any particular places, any like glands or organelle or organs or what they may be, that we could target in order to bring those down, or they would likely also be sensitive areas.
Yeah.
Or if it's just natural, just like coming out on every inch of their skin or whatever.
Without getting into a dissection, it might be hard to tell for sure. But yeah, there are some distinctive parts of their bodies that appear to be more intense than others. So it's safe to assume that it's radiating from some kind of glandular thing. I want to say protrusion, but it's really probably not protruding. I just like the word protrusion in this particular case. It's sciencey sounding. So you got one more question. Plus 4 momentum you haven't spent yet.
wavelength do their sensory organs operate on? Like, is it visual? Is it
electromagnetic?
okay?
Yep. Which is
Presumably
likely why they were thrown off by whatever was going on here.
Yeah. Okay. I think we got a picture.
Okay.
Do they seem to have any like weapon systems aside from just being massive and barreling through things?
Well, they have the radiation plans.
Yeah,
Right.
the radiation, they're absolutely massive. Those long tail things look like they could probably do some damage if they hit a ship.
Okay.
I would not want those big tail protrusion things are probably, like being hit with a starship by themselves. So. But they don't appear to have any like beam weapons. They probably don't have torpedoes.
Well, obviously.
Don't think I'd want one to spit on me or anything, but
I think we have our two ideas, right?
Yeah.
Sure. So we're gonna head back.
Can we did?
Oh, you've used all your questions, so you're using actual momentum now, just so you know.
Yeah, we're burning into our regular momentum.
I thought you said we had 4 momentum that had not been spent yet. Or I get what you're saying. That had not been added. That were added to the list but not spent.
Right. You can use them if you want to.
I do think Mills has a question that would be worth burning momentum, because I want her to ask, well, what would be the best, or if there's a particular calibration that our shields need to radiate at that would be most effective to deflecting anything they might throw at us, or best way to defend ourselves.
Like counteracting the radiation.
Yeah, that would probably be.
That seems to be their main external threat,
Yeah.
aside from like physical kinetic damage.
Yeah, and you'd be
Right.
hard pressed to use energy shields against a kinetic attack from those anyways. But
Right.
to prevent the radiation, yes, you can calibrate the shields to minimize radiation damage.
Okay.
I mean, if you're exposed to them for extremely long periods of time, it's still going to be bad. But yes, you can
Right.
certainly reduce that substantially.
There's hyposprays for that.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Chances are you could probably resolve that without too much difficulty, unless you're going to live with them. If you're going to live inside of them, you're probably going to be all right.
We could keep and train the baby.
Oh God.
All right, so you're heading back towards the conference room to have a meeting with the captain and discuss your options and findings. Here is the briefing room. All right, so we have found the space whales around this planet, and everyone has done their science. They have done their tactical analysis, and they are bringing their options to the captain in the ready room. So go ahead and take it away, captain in the ready room.
Okay. So all the senior officers are here, right? Including Disavi?
Yes.
So when everybody's there, he'll say, okay, well, while you off were doing, I couldn't help but poke around some designs for this scanner myself. It looks like something would be able to do. I couldn't help myself. I love a good gizmo. But what other ideas have you come up with?
Captain, I think we've got a solid plan. We got enough navigational data that we were able to translate from the creatures that we think we can send them our own. And it looks like they eat material that is common in the Jovian planets, like they were heading there and got drawn off course by the radiation from the M-class world. We can basically send them navigational signals back to the Jovians. And
here's a possibility to take that one step further. We might be able to use our Bussard collectors to collect exactly what they eat and leave them a nice breadcrumb trail right on out of here.
That's a marvelous idea, sir. And in conjunction with the captain's idea, if need be, we can set up an unidirectional jammer that might block signals coming out of the planet, but not block signals from planetary orbit back down.
That sounds like a solid plan. Would we be able to do so while remaining incognito? And the last thing we need to do is become the new hot gossip on the planet.
I'd have to defer to security and engineering on that one, sir. I really don't know.
If we're already setting up some sort of sensor dispersion net to block the satellite's communications to the whales, if we set that up early, position that between the satellites and this gas giant, it may be enough to at least confuse them enough not to know exactly what we are.
We can send the shuttle ahead with a unidirectional jammer. That way, once the Europa starts moving, we'll have less to worry about.
And we could continue running on minimal systems.
And frankly, sir, their attention's probably on the giant creatures in orbit rather than on any shuttle-sized anomalies they might see.
And their own planetary troubles at the moment.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
We could, in fact, actually possibly simply disguise ourselves like yet another one of these creatures. If we emit a similar subspace frequency, they'd be detecting us through electromagnetics anyway, unless somebody points a telescope right at us. That's how they're going to look at us.
Wouldn't that fool the creatures as well? The last thing we need to do is have them think we're a rival.
It could draw their attention. That is a concern.
Yeah, I think something as small as a shuttle or a probe, the odds of it going largely unnoticed, I think are pretty good, sir, but it's a gamble.
I tend to agree. I think you've gotten a good plan here. What about communication with these creatures? We toyed a little with it. Have you considered how you would, or what the implications might be?
Given your concerns about the Prime Directive, sir, I think keep it light, send them navigation data, leave the breadcrumb trail, and leave it at that.
Hands-off approach.
And report back to Starfleet Command if they want us if we get orders to make contact. Wonderful. But if there's a dispute, we solve the current problem and leave it for another day.
We can always have a vessel circle around to make first contact with these creatures if Starfleet deems it important.
Exactly.
I think if we opt to send out a signal to disguise ourselves as these creatures, because they seem to communicate both through their whale song and through some sort of empathic link, expressing our intention shouldn't be particularly difficult. I think we could easily convey to them that we're not a rival if they pick up on us at all. Interesting.
I do think that going incognito is our best play, though, since it would minimize the risks.
Right. Smaller and quieter, better.
No.
First, do no harm.
Well, Cass, I think you should lead the shuttle team to try and you should lead the shuttle team to try to disrupt the you should lead the shuttle team to try to disrupt the radio waves.
Be delighted, sir.
And meanwhile, Ambrose, I think you should head up the ship, try to keep us low and quiet as we ram scoop up the food source for the creatures.
Aye, sir. Sounds good. And Cass, if you're looking for a recommendation, I had Jisa, one of our shuttle pilots, already looking into their navigation tendencies.
Oh, that's perfect, sir. I was going to leave that to your discretion, but we've worked well in the past. I feel utterly confident with her.
She's also quite skilled in warp fields and electronic warfare, so she might be able to help with any communications, electromagnetic interference that may come up.
That sounds perfect.
Let's definitely have her on the shuttle team then.
All right.
If you can spare her, though, I wouldn't mind somebody with some engineering experience like Ensign Chiarca.
If you want her, you've got her.
Thank you, sir.
Desavi, I want you on standby. If this whole thing goes awry, we're going to need to get their attention. We're going to need to make contact with them. It's not my first choice, but if it becomes necessary, that's our backup plan.
Certainly. And having me on standby also gives us a leg up because I'll know if they start to become hostile before they show hostility.
Do you think you'd be better doing that from the shuttle or from the Europa?
The closer I can get to them, the easier I can sense how they're feeling.
Then let's put you on the shuttle. All right.
His antennae wilt a little bit, but she keeps a smile on her face.
All right.
Well, let's be about it.
Okay, so you got a group going out in a shuttlecraft to attempt to block the planetary sensors and hopefully cut off the interference that you're getting from the planet, so the whales are not seeing that. That's step one, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's start with that. And that group was Kaz,
Shajin and Yesbeth and the doctor.
So I did want the captain to make their role to devise the device while everybody else was huddled.
Go ahead.
I just really like the idea of him fiddling. It's kind of his deal. So would that be control plus engineering?
Sure. Sounds right.
Okay. Oh, fuck. Well.
Reroll the complication, if that's the thing.
Do I have a thing that lets me reroll?
What are you tinkering with?
He has cautious command, but not cautious engineering. So.
Hang on a sec. Let me just check something. I can do that without strangling myself on the headphone cord.
Are you looking for see if there's a momentum spend for it?
Yeah, because my group plays that there is, but I don't know if that's just sort of in the.
You can re-roll. There is a momentum spend for re-roll. Oh no, that's challenge dice.
Let's see. There is a momentum spend for create advantage, remove complication, create problem, obtain information, additional work, piercing, reroll, work, damage bonuses, disarming, extra minor actions, keeping the initiative penetration, 1 reroll of damage, avoiding injury, secondary targeting, swift actions, bonus damage, penetration, rerolling damage, devastating damage, swift attack, and power loss. I don't see anything that actually allows for rerolling of rolls unless you have talents that do that.
My players have put one over on me for a year.
Okay, I've got an interesting way to do this narratively, if you don't mind. I would like to. So the captain gives his thing, and then while we're on the shuttle, Chiarca's just looking at it, and she's like, "This isn't going to work." Lieutenant, this schematic isn't good. It's in fact quite bad.
The captain is quite bad at this.
Okay, I'm glad we found that out now. Got something better for us?
I think I can manage something. If I reverse the radioscope and repolarize this, let me see if I can manage it. And this time I'm going to borrow momentum.
Okay. Can Kaz assist?
Sure. I took that complication as my threat, though.
We're all about those 20s tonight.
That is still 2 successes. So
2 successes and a complication. So
Control engineering for Kaz or control science?
sure, either one.
Okay. Oh, either one. Well, I'll take the science.
What is this device supposed to be doing there, Captain?
jamming the planetary signals that are disrupting the navigation of the whales.
Okay. I have a complication for that then.
Yeah. Focusing universal translators? No.
No.
Computer systems?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I got it.
Actually, this is something that GISA might be able to help with electronic warfare.
Oh, yeah, it would have. I believe the roll's already been made, though, so we're good on that.
Yeah.
That would have been a good one to use, yes. However, we've got...
He's busy flying.
Right. We've got 3 successes. That's plenty. You've got 2 momentum to regain. And I get a complication, which I'm going to go ahead and use and not tell you what it is because it's not going to come up this session.
Okay.
Well, it might come up this session. But, so, as you are flying through the planetary ionosphere or whatever, the magnetosphere, I guess is really what you're flying through at this point. Go ahead and give me a con and control or daring roll. Your difficulty is going to be 2, and I'm going to spend one of these here to increase the complication. The complication will be is if you fail, you will have drawn the attention of the critters. Not fail, but if you know what I mean.
I'm sorry. I was writing a note there. What
So go ahead and give me a control or daring and con to fly through the ionospheres. And I spent 1 threat to raise the threat range, the complication range by 1. In that, if you roll into that complication range, you will have gained the attention of the critters.
And what's the difficulty?
Difficulty is 2, I think I said.
Okay, difficulty 2, 19 to 20 complication.
Correct. Not super hard to roll this, but
Daring con use or
control.
Or control. I'm going to go control and con. That's a value of 15. I'm assuming my focus in fighter crafts doesn't really help here, but electronic warfare. I mean,
since you're just flying it, I'm going to say no on the electronic warfare. But I might go with the you said fighter craft.
Fighter craft, yeah. Knowing specifically how to keep a low profile and.
Are you guys taking one of the shuttlecraft, or are you taking one of the runabouts?
I think we're runabout.
Yeah,
with 4 of us and a probe, I would figure.
Yeah, we have a runabout.
All right. Yeah, I guess I'll allow it.
Okay. In fact, if the runabout is an option, there's never a reason to take anything else, really.
The runabouts aren't quite as maneuverable as some of the other ones are, but.
Okay. Difficulty 2, 19 to 20. I do have a focus value of 15. Do we want?
Yeah, we do. Go for it.
We want to take a momentum?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay, we'll see if I roll another complication here. That seems to be Jesus' jam. That seems to be my jam, really. All right.
That has been today's jam.
Hey, look at that.
Okay. That's
3.
That's what do I have to roll? I have to roll under discipline for it to count as a crit for focus, right?
Correct.
Which I did not, so that's just 3 successes.
Right.
Which is good.
So 3 successes, which is 1 more than needed, so you have 1 momentum. And you did not get any complications, so you did not get killed by any giant creatures.
Yay!
It's always a plus, given the way we roll sometimes. So yes, you have managed to make your flight through the magnetosphere of the planet as you were going, and you've laid down your unidirectional signal blocking. I'm going to go ahead and spend that complication from earlier or something else. I was going to do something with it before, but I'm going to change it to this thing. Once you get past and everything is now seems to be relatively in place, and you're reaching the end of your run. Two of the large whale creatures, not the largest of them, but the other two, including one of the ones that's pregnant, begin to descend into the planet's atmosphere. Captain, you can see from where you are sitting, and everyone aboard the ship, the Europa, that it is beginning. That these two whales are beginning to descend into the atmosphere of the planet. The third one is staying in orbit.
What is their intent? I guess.
So you're looking for the emotion, or do you want to go deeper than that?
Let's just go with the emotion. Okay. Particularly if an emotion changed.
Yes. So the emotion in the largest of the three has become more akin to concern. And Ambrose, you can also get these. The emotion of the other two appears to be more of, well, at least of one. The one that is two. The one that is two has an imminent calmness, I guess. Okay. And the third, the one that is descending, is the closest thing you can think of is concern. There's some level of concern.
Okay. So the two that have descended are the pregnant cow and one of the others.
The other one, yeah.
And then the big one stayed.
Correct.
Right. Okay. The pregnant one is calm. The other one is concerned.
Correct.
Okay. And the one that stayed, you also said concerned?
Yes, but it's a different kind of concern.
Okay.
It's still concerned, but it's
more a concern for the pregnant cow that's going toward the surface? Probably,
or something along those lines, yes.
Or, like the rest of my herd kind of thing?
Sure. You can't really get the planetary chatter anymore because you now have blanketed the planet, right, or at least this unidirectional area with blocking their communications. So that's what you got going on.
I don't think this changes our plan, Captain. If anything, we need to move quicker, but we can't directly interfere. They are choosing to dive bomb this planet for whatever reason.
Disavi, can you contact the creatures?
I can try.
He's going to look at Ambrose and he's going to say, these people, I don't think that allowing whales to crash into the planet, to beach themselves on the planet, is going to change the advancement of their society. I think it's the best thing for everyone involved is for us to make contact, since there seems to be no other choice.
All right, Dasabi, give me a roll.
Before you do that, I would like to hear Ambrose's response to that.
Sure.
I don't think it gets any more discreet than telepathic communication. I think if we're going to do anything, that's as much as we can do. But if it doesn't work, I don't think there's anything else we can do except go along with our initial plan.
He nods. All right, do it, Dasavi.
All right. All right, Jeffrey, what you want?
You got that chart that I sent you, the link. What do you think fits best for what you're trying to do?
That link that I've put somewhere.
It's in the resources of Discord.
I know. That's why I put it there.
Yep.
So I did not lose it.
I'm thinking either insight or
Con?
presence against they don't have con on that list for any of their things, but I honestly think con would fit in some situations. Not this one necessarily, but
believe. Let's see. I have to coordinate others or course. I have a talent called Doctor's Orders that says when attempting to not type in things, coordinate others or coerce someone into taking or refraining from a specific course of action, I can use medicine instead of command.
You're just reaching out to make contact at the moment, right?
Right.
Yeah, coerce. At the moment, you're just trying to reach out to them and talk to them, right? You're not trying to convince them of anything particular. Or are you trying to send out the message that they need to not do this? They need to go over here and do this thing. No,
we'll start with just a very gentle, "Hey, what you doing?"
Okay.
Why are you going to that planet? It's boring.
Let's do. Is
that going to be actionable though? Like, what does success bring from it? Hey, sup whales?
Well, I think
that's a given. I think any level of communication is going to be hi, hello. But I think the actionable role here is don't hit the planet. Hey, look over here. We're doing something.
Yeah.
Right. I wasn't going to have you do a roll for that. I was going to the first step in that would probably be just make sure that they don't destroy that your brain doesn't get melted when you reach out to these truly alien creatures.
Right.
So. With that, you are able to reach out your mind and connect to theirs, and there's definitely an overwhelming sense of intelligence in these creatures. You don't necessarily get their thoughts as you would see them in a normal sentient creature,
right?
But you can definitely there's definitely memories, and there are thoughts that they're surface thoughts that you can see, and it's much more visual than you would have anticipated otherwise. And it's not visualizations you can necessarily understand because it's largely electromagnetic. But what you get largely is that they came to this area with the intention of birthing one of their calves. Something drew them to this planet, and now it's all bad, and they're running out of time. So,
okay.
I thought this scan said it wasn't that far along.
No, I didn't assess, but I don't think I specified either way.
Okay. Not that I recall.
Okay.
Can I make an argument for doctor's orders applying here? Because whether they're alien, this is a medical emergency.
Sure.
I was going to say now doctor's orders are going to apply.
Yeah, no, I was absolutely going to allow that to work. Yeah. Because it's also command. It's not just coercion and you're trying to convince them. You're actively talking to them, trying to convince them this is the best thing for you, not like I'm going to take control of your brain and move you over here kind of coercion.
Right.
So tying into our earlier conversation.
This
any
might
values?
come in. I think the closest value to this would be emotion in crisis is a bad thing, which is not actually how that's written, but it's something. What is it? Emotion in crisis. It only makes things worse. Also, Doctor knows best, but I don't think that would necessarily come into play at the very moment. What might come into play in a second role would be quick study, depending on how this goes.
If a second role is necessary.
Right.
In the meantime, while she is doing all of this, is anyone else doing anything, or are you just kind of waiting for her to finish up what she's doing?
Jored is going to tell Fox, let's make a breadcrumb trail for them. Arnie, can you use the tractors to start moving those silicates to make a line? A food channel line, if you will?
Excuse me.
I could attempt to do so.
Okay.
You said presence, Jeff?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay.
You're dealing with them on an emotional level, so insight or presence are really...
I think I'd go insight.
It's almost an instinctual level.
Okay. I am going to... could I use negotiations as a focus here? I don't think xenobio would necessarily apply because I have no basis for comparison on these things.
Sure.
But you still are dealing with xenobiology.
Sure.
I'll take negotiation. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. All right, dice. No 20s.
All right, dice. All right. Many 20s.
No.
Are you using?
Already giving you too many. No, not yet.
Okay.
I think at this point, having gotten the clear impression from them that shit's gone sideways.
So, what are you actually trying to tell them in the thing?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I am trying to tell them that I would like to help.
Okay. Are you trying to give them an action of things to do? Like you're trying to convey to them that you are here to help and that you are not a threat. But in order to have the role actually mean something, what are you trying to get them to do?
Follow us to safety?
Yeah, like we know of a safe place for you and your calf, not far. If you follow us, we can get you to safety.
Okay.
And hope this goes smoothly.
I'm gonna say the difficulty was 3. You got 2, but I'm gonna do something because I didn't get you the difficulty beforehand. What I'm gonna do is have the Europa make a roll. The difficulty is gonna be because you're trying to lay the food the chum line out. Give me a single roll on that. I'm guessing piloting or whatever you guys think would be most appropriate for doing what you're doing. A success will give advantage to what Availain is doing. So because they will then see the line associate necessarily possibly with you and believe that.
I'd like to lean over Mr. Fawkes and assist him with my advisor talent.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm just gonna give you some good gentle direction.
I have a bunch of these, so I'm gonna go ahead and spend them. I said difficulty was going to be 2, right? So I'm going to make the difficulty 4 because I feel like it.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Control con is a 13. Focus in helm operations.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah. Okay. So, buy a die?
Sure.
Yes.
You're going to buy it or you're going to use momentum?
Momentum. Yeah. Okay.
And you can re-roll one of your d20s.
Okay. Let's re-roll the 16 just for fun.
Nice. Okay. All right. So how many is that? We got 2 from the captain.
6.
Is your difficulty your rate's 15?
No, it is 13.
13.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Yeah.
Plus the ship can probably assist.
Yep, that's true. If I can click these buttons, it will. There's a focus on this. This is not one of the ship's strong suits, by the way. She's a science ship, not a movie ship. Oh, it's still got 1. So, all right. That'll give you 5, which will max your momentum back out. Unless you have something you want to do with it. But what I'm going to do is say that yes, because you have managed to lay out the line using the bussard collectors to lay out your whatever you had, plus tractor beams to move out the other the rest of the chum lines that you were looking at. The larger of the 3 begins to move towards the line, and the other 2, after a few seconds of hesitation, also begin moving out of the planet's atmosphere and away from the planet. Yeah. What do you do next?
We will continue laying out that line. We should lead them to the rings of the planet.
Okay, gonna head them towards the rings of one of the Jovians.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was their destination from the get-go. If we leave them in system, they may simply get confused and head back once our blockage is done with. We might want to point them to the best system, the next system over, where they could find a better place.
Well, it sounds like they're about to have a baby, so we may not have time for that quite at the moment.
You'd also have to find a system that they would be willing to go to, so that might be more difficult.
Yeah.
All right.
We should stick around to observe at the very least. It's not often we see a gigantic spaceship give birth.
Yeah. If nothing else, this is fascinating.
All right. You managed to. What is the shuttle team doing while the Europa is moving them off, moving the creatures off?
I'm continuing to maintain contact and trying to discern what it is that has gone all bad.
I would like to do engineering to create disadvantage on the shuttle being detected by primitive sensor systems.
Sure. Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Sorry, I didn't interrupt if you had more. I got so caught up in my own thing.
That's all right.
The Yesbeth is showing through.
Mm-hmm.
Could Jiza assist with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to spend a momentum as well.
And Jiza having electronics warfare, that would apply.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Would astrophysics focus apply?
Astrophysics. I don't think that one would necessarily apply. No. What else you got over there? Anything?
Oh.
Focus is sensors. I would say that sensors probably work.
Oh, okay. If sensors works, then I get a bonus momentum as well.
Sure.
Okay. So that is, since it's engineering, that's that would be 4, 5, 4 successes.
It's one of those days where it doesn't matter what you put in front of you, you're just going to succeed at it.
I have failed at pretty much everything I've done.
Yeah, that's true. All right, yeah, no problem. You are fairly certain that you are invisible to the Europa at this point. In the meantime, the alien creatures are following you off to the large Jovian, the larger of the two. When they arrive, the largest of them begins moving between you, being the Europa, and the other two as they descend into the harshness of the atmosphere there. You, after a little while, lose your primary sensor contact as they're going deep enough into the planet that you're getting a lot of interference. You could launch a probe to observe, probably.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Kaz, you're aboard ship, right? No, you're on the
shuttle.
You're on the shuttle.
Unless at this point we've gone back. There's no reason for us.
I think at this point the shuttle would return.
Get the shuttle to come back. So, Kaz, you are on the bridge and on your station in text. Eva replies, comes up on the things. We're observing the creation of life. And there's a question mark.
And Cass will type back, yes, we are. And a species we've never seen before.
A few seconds later, just the cursor blinks and then types fascinating. After some time, you guys are recording the event, obviously, and doing your sciencing and getting your education on. After a while, the birthing process appears to be complete, and the three that were in the atmosphere begin to ascend, I assume that at no point the Europa was trying to get any closer or anything like that.
No. Yeah, we would keep our distance.
Yeah. The four creatures that are there now begin to for lack of a better term, graze the rings. You can see as they're pushing through it, the gases on either side of them, kind of part and split, and they're absorbing whatever it is they need to survive, and moving through the rings.
Do their emotions dictate that everything's okay now?
Everything appears to be pretty good. They're very contented, or even to a point of what you would consider jubilation, which is a great word. So I don't have anything else for that. If you guys want to have any additional,
could I just ask for a point of clarification? Looking back over the navigation logs, it looks like they were coming in from out of system to get to the gas giant, saw this planet with all its weird signals, and took the detour.
Sort of.
So now that they're already past the planet, they're at the gas giant. There's no reason why they would go back.
You can't think of any particular reason why they would go back.
Okay.
Plus the large emissions that they were likely seeing before are not there anymore. They're still seeing emissions, but I'll explain it when we're done with the session.
Okay.
We're pretty much done now, unless anybody has anything.
Is there a way to convey to them the difference between their signals and the radio signals coming from the planet?
That's nice.
You can try. I don't know that it necessarily would work, but we can certainly, using your telepathy, I'm assuming you could communicate as much as you can to them, what's going on. And you'll get back the message that there was something that was giving them, that was calling to them. And when they reached it, it unfortunately broke up and stopped making its noises.
Okay.
So, or at least it stopped making the noises quite so loudly. There's this thing that then there was these things floating, and it wasn't good. It was bad. We might have broke it.
Could we double check once our jammer is done, or when we retrieve it, or however we resolve that situation? Could we double check and make sure we actually, ghosted this planet, this culture?
Yeah, we could scrub through the TV channels. We already said we were doing that. So
Yep.
And really, we could just hang out here and gather cultural information on these people as well.
Yep.
Study.
Yep. You get a number of their channels, I guess, that are talking about these space creatures. We're not alone in the universe. There's life out there. It's amazing. It's glorifying. It's glory and unifying. There's a few channels that are like, there were aliens that sent these things here. They were out to kill us. And then there's a picture of what looks like a blurry satellite photo of what you guys could make out as the Europa, but most people are calling it like an unidentified space debris, or the wreckage of the multinational space station, and
Whale poop.
Yeah, it's there's some conspiracies going on. There's it's the 21st century.
Right.
So let me ask another question. What do these aliens look like?
They actually look relatively humanoid. I had a picture, right? It's in my other game. So they are a little bit shorter than normal humans. They're a little bit wider than, stockier build than normal humans. It's a largely water-based planet, so there isn't tons and tons of land. But their skin is kind of a pale, almost magenta, like a pale pink magenta color. Other than that, they mostly look pretty human. They're only on screen for 5 minutes. It's just put a lot of money into their makeup, Right. But yeah, the only real distinguishing factor with them is that their eyes appear to be kind of like a deep obsidian color, and when they blink, they have two sets of eyelids.
Thick membrane.
Yeah. Fairly typical of creatures that probably are water-based at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Captain, I would recommend that we tag this planet for a long-term cultural study. Send that back to Narendra Station.
I agree.
With everything that's happened, in the next 200-300 years, we may be able to watch this civilization as it takes its first steps out
Now
of
that
that
they know
system.
that there's life out there,
Yeah.
that could accelerate.
Not to mention, we could take some of these broadcasts. Who knows? They might have some good shows.
Kaz will replicate cigars and champagne for the science staff.
Could we wrap up with a meeting between? We don't have to wrap up now, but I would like to wrap up with a meeting between Jorad and Arani.
Sure. I don't have anything else. So if you want to have that, go ahead. And Jirani.
Before we do that, maybe a scene with Yezbeth and who is the other new Rebecca?
Mhm.
How about a scene between those two?
Sure.
So Yezbeth is going to come in and she's going to come into the science lab and she's going to be like, the scanner sucked. I'm terrible at this. Why did I think I could do this?
Well, Connor just comes over and kind of gently and a little bit awkwardly pats her shoulder and says, I'm sure it's better than you thought it was. It's okay. We all make mistakes.
The jammer only succeeded at making the whales nosedive to the planet. Did exactly the opposite of what it was supposed to do.
Are you sure it was the jammer that caused that? It could have been just a coincidence.
I think so. I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm not cut out for this.
Me too. Not you. I mean me. Like nothing.
Oh, bother.
I think you're fine. I meant that sometimes I feel the same way.
Oh man, really? I thought I was the only one.
This ship is intimidating.
I'll tell you. Or can I say something?
Sure.
I think Ambrose. I think he's very angry all the time, and it scares me.
I haven't interacted with him much. He's really intense when he plays chess.
He plays chess?
Mm-hmm. He played with Eva.
Huh.
She was fascinated.
Well, I mean that's almost human of him. I admit I'm a little surprised.
We're not all as we appear.
No, I guess not. All right, well, I'm going to go lay down. It was good working with you.
Likewise. And don't beat yourself up.
No promises.
It all worked out in the end.
I guess so. All right, that's kind of all I had for that scene. That was good.
Sure. And you had a captain in what?
I think Kova's the captain in Arani. I do want to do a small vignette. Kova comes into the security room and he's like, I got the bombs ready. And then he realizes the situation is completely resolved. He's like, aw. But yeah, so the captain's going to offer Arani a drink. So what were your impressions of the crew of this mission?
I think we all came together quite well. I think we might have stretched the bridge crew a little thin, sending so many of our top people out on the shuttle, but it all worked out.
Yeah, it did. We've got a small crew. We're gonna have to make do with a fewer bridge crew on occasion, I think.
Right.
If we want to get our experienced officers close to the action. I think this was a good confidence building mission. The crew really surprised me. No major screw ups, so to speak.
No, nothing we couldn't come back from. It'll make for an interesting report. I am interested to see what the brass has to say about our interpretation of the Prime Directive, though I think we acted with the best of intentions.
Well, if we come back and the whales have built a starship-shaped statue around the planet, we'll know we're screwed up.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I don't think that's much of a concern.
Yeah, I think you're right. Good work today. Believe me, I paid attention to how you took with your own contributions as well.
I also would like to note that we have a very, very good security team. They think out of the box. They came up with a lot of interesting questions and a lot of interesting answers for things that were more conducive than just hurting something. That's good to know they're
I'm really glad
concerned
to
with
hear
more than that.
I'm really glad to hear that.
I do appreciate our chief science officer's optimism. Her and the computer. I hope it was paying attention. I'm sure it was. It would be hard for it not to pay attention.
But I've noticed you've been meeting with the computer a lot. Do you have any impressions about it or its personality?
I've played one honestly confusing game of chess with it. I think that's the extent of my personal time. I haven't interacted much with any of the systems. I've even refrained from recording any sensitive logs through the main computer itself. I've brought up concerns about it with Availain and Kostra.
Well, those are the two who'd be on the front lines of it if anything goes wrong. So thanks for keeping on top of it.
Considering how uncertain our sentient ship is about some of its higher reasoning skills, it doesn't instill confidence in keeping all its programs straight.
Well, back on Trill, we have a creature. It's kind of like a horse, but it's actually a lizard. But that's neither here nor there. But my point is, when you learn how to ride it, you've got to learn to trust each other. The horse has to be taught the rider as much as it has to be taught, or as much as the rider needs to learn the horse.
It's a common theme when working with beasts of burden.
Well, maybe that's what the Europa is now, the beast of burden.
It's an interesting way to look at a starship.
It's something new. Let's not lose sight of that, I suppose. But good work today, Mr. Ambrose.
Thank you, sir.
I think that's a good way to wrap up the scene.
Okay. I have one last scene that I'd like to do.
Absolutely.
Back in where we started with Kaz and the library and Eva. Eva is going through the data that she saw, that has happened over the course of the mission. And whilst going over the final footage of the creatures and whatnot, Eva will chime up with hang on, I have to see your name in front of me so I can say it, because otherwise I can't say it.
I always want to
Dorians.
flip the N's and the V's.
Right. Lieutenant Shabernva, have you ever considered being a parent?
That's where we call it. Roll credits.
Red alert.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You get to have the talk.
I'm sorry, but that wasn't a very helpful or constructive answer to an understandable question. Andorian reproduction is socially complicated. There's a lot of pressure on us to put our reproductive duties ahead of anything else. Most of our species accepts that. Not all of us do. I've struggled to accept that. And I am here a long way from my family and from those obligations.
I see.
A long, 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 long way away.
You sound somewhat relieved.
I am. I'm not. I haven't rejected my duty. I'm prepared to do it, but I'm not prepared to make that the be all and the end all of my existence. It's a part of life. It doesn't have to be all of life.
I have read many topics, many entries on the topic, and there are many species whose primary existence is purely for breeding.
Yeah.
You do not believe this to be the case.
It gets complicated when sentience comes into play. And it varies a lot from species to species. Andorians feel that obligation very, very strongly. Most of us. Humans, it seems like, can more or less take it or leave it sometimes. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I think it depends a lot on culture. It depends a lot on biology and how those two interact. And sometimes it gets messy.
I see. Being an artificial life form, I had never considered the idea of reproduction.
Well, I understand there are some precedents, and it's an interesting thing to contemplate. And if it's something that you want to discuss or potentially work towards at some point, we can certainly have that conversation. And I'm sure that the people at the Daystrom Institute would be fascinated. So we can keep talking about that one. And better you than me.
I believe I would have to have further conversations with those who have already taken the responsibility on themselves.
I think that's wise. No matter the species or the circumstances, it's not something to enter into lightly. And you've got time, hopefully, and you've got a lot of other species that you can talk to and get advice from and learn from. And I think it's a thing that most people, or at least on Europa, are willing to talk about. Probably most of them more than me, but it's a good subject of conversation.
Excellent. I appreciate your insights, Lieutenant. I will...
It's my pleasure. Anytime.
In the meantime, I believe that our guests are beginning to... I believe there's a change happening amongst our observations, our observable guests.
Oh, what's happening? What's happening? Anything to put on screen?
Certainly. Puts it on screen. This could also happen on the bridge. As they come on screen, you can see them. They've kind of, all four of them kind of splay out a little bit more of their filii, their antennae in the back there. And after a few seconds of drawing in incredible amounts of energy, they...
Yellow alert.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Shields up.
They go to warp.
Cool.
And that's a good place to end, I think.
I think so.
Okay, cancel yellow alert.
It's a totally legit yellow alert, though.
Right.
Cass will put a party hat on Eva's station. And
Lieutenant Shibaranawa, you get sensor log of that organic warp system?
we absolutely did. Eva was able to warn us beforehand, so we were able to catch all of that.
Very good. Only so much precedent for non-technological warp systems.
Fascinating, isn't it, sir?
It is. Good job today.
Thank you, sir.
Captain's going to chime in. Eva, good catch on that. On that.
Thank you, Captain. I aim to please.